Hello everybody, welcome to Parasha Pointers, where we delve into the weekly Parasha, looking for inspiration of how to raise our children, but in essence we're really raising ourselves. This week's Parasha talks about on Har Gerizim, a certain mountain where you had half of the tribes of Israel on one side and the other half on the other side, and there was these pronouncements that if somebody does the correct thing, he's blessed, and if they do the wrong thing, they are cursed. And we know that there were 11 curses. 11 curses. So Rashi says the 11 curses, meaning the 11 Pesukim that talk about curses, are corresponding to the 11 tribes of Israel. However, Rashi points out that we know that there's 12 tribes in Israel. So what's with this? Why are we missing one? He says Shimon is missing. The one verse that was talking about a curse that would come upon the Jewish people that would correspond to Shimon, the tribe of Shimon, is left out. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu said later on, I'm going to give a blessing to every one of the tribes and I'm not going to give one to Shimon. How can I give a pasuk, a verse that's going to talk about curse, if there's not a pasuk that talks about a blessing? There's got to be that balance. There's a big lesson here for us, huge lesson. Everything in relationships is about deposits and withdrawals. We cannot take a withdrawal if there's not that deposit in it. What am I talking about? For example, I was at the table with somebody, a guest by my house. I was talking to him the other night, and all of a sudden one of my children comes with 2 glasses of water with ice. You know how amazing that is, by the way? I didn't even say to do it. You know how good that made me feel as a father to have a child that just thought on their own to do it, and I made sure to make a big deposit and to tell them, I can't, how do you do such a thing? That's amazing. Now let me tell you something. When I notice also when she does something wrong and I tell her, she'll be able to take that, because that's a withdrawal, but at least there's a deposit that was there beforehand. That's what life's all about. Deposits and withdrawals. But if we don't make those deposits, you gotta be very careful that you shouldn't go to such an empty spot where the child is just withdrawn and broken. There's a famous story about the great Tzaddik of Yerushalayim, Rabbi Levine. He was tremendous. He also ran a big yeshiva. And the story goes as thus. There was a person, a little young boy, and he was very, 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 very hungry, very hungry. He went and he was online. It was a big treat that time in yeshiva. Chocolate pudding. I happen to love chocolate pudding. And it was chocolate pudding, a big pot of it. And they were giving little servings to each one of the children. And he got online and had his chocolate pudding. And then you know what he did after he had his chocolate pudding? What I used to always do. He went back to the back of the line to get another helping. When the person who runs the kitchen saw that, said, "You're not getting another helping. How dare you? That's not nice." The boy was so upset. He wanted that pudding that he kicked the entire pot to the floor. And everything was gone for everyone. Oh my gosh. The cook in the kitchen took this boy and berated him and beat him and killed, forget about what he did to him. He said, I'm going to send you to Rabbi Levine, the head of the whole institution tomorrow, and he's going to decide if you're going to stay in this yeshiva. Get out of here. The next day he goes in front of Rabbi Levine and he didn't sleep the whole night. He had a sleepless night. He was sick. What's going to be? He's going to be berated. He's so scared. He goes in front of Rabbi Levine. He says, did you do that? Did you knock over the pie? He said, yeah. He says, you going to ever do that again? He goes, no, never. He goes, you like chocolate pudding? He says, yeah. He goes, come, I brought some for me and you. And they sat down and they ate that chocolate pudding together. That's a big deposit. And Rav Aryeh Levine realized that there was nothing more to withdraw from this boy. He was already broken. He needed to put something in. And that's what he did. That is a tremendous musar for every one of us. To realize that if we're going to make a withdrawal, we got else to make a deposit. We have to have empathy for our children. If we have empathy for them when they're down, they'll be able to handle it when we got to tell them something that might hurt, but they know that we're with them. And that's what it's all about. We have to be aware of our children. And we have like that little antenna that's up to see if anything they do wrong, anything they don't do right. But the question is, do we have that same antenna to realize what they do right? If it's not equal, it's going to be very tough to build them up. And that's what it's all about. Hashem should give us the wisdom to know and to be aware of all the strengths that our children have, so we could also deal with their shortcomings. Be'ezat Hashem. We should learn from this week's parasha this very important lesson. Have a Shabbat Shalom. Kol Tov.